University. He specializes in urban and public economics. Professor, it's good to have you with us tonight. Thank you. Picking up off what Kate was talking about, are our cities ever going to be the same again?
I think it depends a lot on the path of the disease. If this is a one-time event, if this is something that does not repeat every 5 years, then I think cities will basically get back to normal with some severe short-term interruptions. If pandemic remains a more permanent part of urban life, then no, our cities will not be the same. We just did a poll of National Association of Business Economists, who are professional economists who work in companies, and more than 30% of them said that more than 40% of the employees who are now working from home and didn't work from home beforehand would stay working from home. So this view that there will be a permanent shift of some workers to working remotely has got to be right. But cities will adjust to that. There'll be a drop in commercial real estate prices, perhaps. There'll be a shuffling of who lives where. But as long as cities become safe, they are extraordinarily resilient.
Wondering what the implication is, though, long term for cities, tax revenues and things like that. If people don't return to the big office buildings downtown, cities are already suffering, aren't they?
They are. There have been fault lines in cities long before COVID-19 appeared. There's an opportunity gap, meaning that upward mobility has tended to be lower for kids growing up in cities. Many cities have mortgaged their future with very large public pension liabilities. And all of those problems remain, and in some sense, they're just exacerbated by COVID-19. But the basic story of the last 40 years is that highly educated cities have done remarkably well. They've done remarkably well because of collaborative creativity, because of success in finance, and because they're just more fun places to live. And so if the health problems can be handled, if this is a one-off event, then I think fundamentally we will be looking forward to an optimistic future, and hopefully one in which cities will do a more responsible job of planning their finances going forward.
It's going to be harder to incentivize people to live in cities, knowing that public transportation, for example, may be the only option in getting to an office. If you take that comfort level away, there's a longer lasting impact.
You're right. And making public transit safe again is certainly one of the big challenges. But it's easy to figure out where that incentive comes from, as you put it. The incentive comes from lower housing costs. So you've got a lot of space to go in the current price of San Francisco real estate or the current price of New York City real estate before you start leaving townhouses in Greenwich Village vacant. And so what happens in the short run is the prices drop and the cities become, at least temporarily, more affordable. Now, that may be bad news for some property owners, but I don't think the idea of New York becoming a bit more affordable is such a terrible outcome. And that's the incentive that people will get, that all of a sudden they may be able to afford an urban apartment when they couldn't before, and then they'll figure out a way to make the grittier city more possible for them.
There were fears, certainly after 9/11 and other events, that people wouldn't want to live in New York anymore either, and that certainly has not been the case. We can only hope that that won't be the case again, that our cities will remain as vibrant as ever on the other side of COVID-19.
That's certainly true, but in some sense, pandemic is a more of a body blow for cities. Because whereas the attack on the towers was absolutely horrific, right? It didn't, in essence, take away the whole joy and pleasure of human interaction. It didn't make every time you connect with another human being a potential threat to your life. And so, plagues and cities have a long history, going back to the plague of Athens that slew Pericles in 430 BC, or the plague of Justinian that broke Constantinople's attempt to reimpose the Pax Romana on the Mediterranean world. And so plague can be a really terrible outcome for cities.
Well, now you're flexing your
historical
historical
they can also
muscles
be handled.
Professor, we have to go. I appreciate your time tonight. It's nice speaking with you. You be well. We'll see you again soon.